Um, sorry guys. This is going to take me a minute to get in the groove, but we're going to get there. Hey, I'm Kaki King, and today we're going to work on a song called Carmine Street. Let's look at some basic features of this song that may be different to you, or maybe you may be singing this for the first time. So most notably, we're playing in an altered tuning, and that tuning is C, G, D, G, A, D. So C, G, D, G, A, D. I feel like we really got a fart. Sorry, guys. It's just what's happening. So this okay. So this song, Carmine Street, is from my first album, Everybody Loves You. It was released in 2003, and I had written the song actually in college, so I was probably writing this around the year 2000, maybe 1999. And at the time I was going to college in New York City, and I was living around the corner from Carmine Street, which is an actual street in the West Village. And Carmine Street seemed to just be the place I wound up for everything. It had a guitar store, it had a hardware store, it had a pharmacy, it had a record shop, it had a place to eat lunch, it kind of just had all the things that I needed. So I found myself often on Carmine Street, even though it's not a very long street. And it was just a nice place to walk around. And so what I took into this song is the pace of my feet walking is the pace of Carmine Street. Most obviously, I'm going to take my left hand, and instead of gripping the neck underneath like so, I'm going to move my hand on the top. And this has a function that allows me, when I'm doing these bass lines by tapping them out, is that this right hand can suddenly access notes that are perhaps on this side of the hand. It can move anywhere it wants. You know, if my hand was just doing this, my right hand at this point would move and would bump into it. So in this way, I'm able to open up the rest of the fretboard to the right hand. We're going to talk about this bass line, and I'm going to show it to you in the context of Carmine Street, but hopefully it'll be something that you can apply to other compositions, or you can just enjoy the idea and maybe find some use of it in other places. So, this is how the bass line goes. Let's work on the top of this bass line. So we're going to hammer on with our index finger on the 4th fret of the E string. By the way, I should make a note of this. This is very important. When I talk about the strings on the guitar, I do not refer to them in the tuning that they are in or the note that they actually are tuned to. I talk about them in standard tuning. It has just become much easier over time to talk about the B string as the B, even though it's tuned to A, for instance. So forgive me if that causes any confusion for you down the road, but I think for most people, they're going to think E string, 4th fret, got it, I know where I am. So we're on the E string at the 4th fret, and we're going to hammer on with our index finger. That's our first note. Now our second note is going to be hammering on the A string at the 4th fret with our middle finger, and then pulling off. So I just want you to try that. Now, one really, really crucial thing to look at here is that I don't leave my index finger down. As soon as my middle finger is going down, my index finger is leaving. See that? And the reason for that is because after this pull-off, my index finger needs to be placed above the string so it can come down for its hammer-on the A string. Because we're going to repeat the same thing except on the A and the D string. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, We're going to hammer on with the index finger on the 4th fret of the E string. Hammer on with the middle finger on the 4th fret of the A string, and we're going to lift up that index finger at the same time. Have a pull off there, so we have that open string ringing, and then because of that, when I hammer on with my index finger again at the 4th fret, so this bass line starts to move around a little bit. Then has a variation. So we're moving from the 5th to the 3rd down to the E string here. So the 5th fret at the A string and D string. 3rd fret A and D string. And then 3rd fret E and A string. And then a little variation is instead of playing the D, we play the G string. So I'd encourage you to play around with that, see how it feels on the neck. It can be used in all kind of applications, you know, walking up and down the fretboard, this way, walking up this way. And, you know, eventually, and used in conjunction with this right hand, the right hand suddenly is freed up to do anything it wants. And so the way Carmine Street comes together is in this way. The right hand is a little bit trickier, especially when combining it with the left hand. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a taste of what's happening. The right hand is at the 12th fret on the E string, and right now I'm using my middle finger, and it's sort of, I kind of reinforce my middle finger a little bit with my index finger. If you can see that, it makes it a little bit stronger and stiffer. So we're going to do hammer-ons at the 12th fret on the E string, high E, 12th fret on the B string, and then a hammer-on and stay and hold at the 11th fret on the G string. But what's really, really important and critical is to hear those pull-offs as well. If you're just doing this, you really lose that characteristic of that lower octave being played. Cool. So ultimately, Carmine Street would be this. Silencio. Okay, all right, now it's time in the show where we go to Kaki King's magic bag of tricks. I have a magic bag, and it's full of tricks and tips that I have gathered over the years that I find to be very useful. Let's see. We've got metronome. Okay, metronome. How to play with a metronome. Let's see what a metronome is. Very interesting. This is an old metronome. This is how they used to do it back in the day. But frankly, I find that it's much easier to get a metronome app on your phone and just get on with your life. So what I'd like to do is, I think that anything is playable on guitar or any instrument at a very slow speed. So I always want people to start at the slowest speed that they think is realistic, that they can cope with, and work up from there. So I'm going to do 80 beats per minute. So, you know, normally on a metronome you just say 80. So there's going to be 80 beats inside of 60 seconds. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay? I'm going to play the bass line of Carmine Street. So with that speed, I can get really, really accurate. I can have time to think about where my fingers go next. If that's too fast, start slower. But the point of a metronome is to get accuracy, to make sure that all the notes are even, that you're not speeding up at the end of the measure or slowing down, that everything is really, really even. So let's say that I'm going to speed up to, let's just jump 10. Let's go up to 90. And I can just hold the phone. Feels pretty good. So let's make a big leap. Let's go up to 120. That's going to be 2 beats per second. Okay. If you want to, you can even go to a beat that's going to be much faster than the actual song. So here's 140. And at that point, really using a metronome just for practice, just to really gain accuracy and gain speed, but gain evenness. So you always want to be even with your beats. And you want to practice throughout the song. So what I would encourage you to do if you're interested in using a metronome, I think they're invaluable tools. They're super, super cheap. You can get them for free as an app. You can get them for, $10 in a little bitty, standalone metronome piece that runs on batteries. But I would encourage you to use the metronome, start slow, gain accuracy, build up slowly in slow increments. If you want to stay at a certain BPM for a week or a month, that's totally fine. As long as you feel really, really comfortable by the time you make that next jump. You're not supposed to say, well, I've kind of halfway got it, and then continue to increase. You're supposed to get, as accurate and as perfect as you can before moving up and seeing what challenges a leap of 10 BPMs or 5 BPMs is going to bring to you. So that is my tip for metronomes and my plug for them, whether they be old or new or digital or analog. Apparently Beethoven didn't have a smartphone and didn't stop him, but I kind of prefer the smartphone app. So that's Carmine Street. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please tweet at me. I'm at Kaki King. You can get me on Facebook. You can find me on my website. You can find me on Instagram. All the things, all the platforms, all the ats. I'll be there somewhere. And if you have a really serious question, follow up with an email from my website. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you here next time for another lesson. Thank you.